It seems that this hiring by SBT of Amanda Klein and so on, of course, for her it's excellent, but terrible for the channel, terrible for the viewers. She's a person who faces a lot of rejection. We know RedeTV, we have a lot of affection for Marcelo de Carvalho, but among the big networks, it's the smallest one. So over there, she didn't have that much of an audience. Now on SBT, things are going to get complicated because the viewers themselves, the audience, are already reacting strongly. She just arrived. This is already happening because Daniela Lima was also rumored to be going to SBT. Remember when Daniela Lima Globo announced her dismissal? You're fired here, you can't set foot here anymore, right? She left. I believe this whole thing was planned. Look, Daniela Lima is going to SBT, Daniela Lima at SBT. The audience started to engage like, no, for God's sake, not SBT, not that. So they decided to pick someone, a more moderate lacradora, so as not to shock the SBT audience too much. And believe it or not, my friends, the people are already there. Look, just imagine that Silvio Santos must be turning in his grave because Amanda Klein? I'm going to tell you the whole story here. SBT is a conservative channel. Are they trying to make it a progressive channel like Globo? Man. Unfortunately, I'll show you everything behind the scenes here. Hit the like button. Make sure to hit the like button. Come be part of our family by subscribing to the channel. I posted it yesterday, but it's getting attention here, right? The facts. Amanda Klein, you know, announced as a hire for SBT News, which ended up hiring her, and they also hired that Basilia as well. Two journalists who are extremely into virtue signaling. Someone who probably didn't like any of this because he also had the dream, right, of going to SBT. Who hasn't dreamed of going to SBT? I've never wanted to work at Globo as a journalist. Never. I've always worked in radio, especially news radio. Then I worked as a press officer, but I never even passed by Globo's door. Not even when they did studio tours here, I never went. Now, SBT, I've always had a lot of affection for it. Even though I'm from Rio Preto, it's different. Because it was Silvio Santos' network, I've always been a big fan and really liked him a lot. I was one of those kids who watched Silvio Santos shows with my family, with my dad and mom, you know? Topa Tudo por Dinheiro and similar shows, Sunday nights, the pranks, I always really enjoyed them. It makes us sad, you know? Names like people who don't even care about the interests of Brazilians, what they managed to get. It's a very small audience. Daniela Lima had 0.00 while I was Globo's audience champion, just like my daughter. She had 0.00. There are so many news channels here, including right-wing ones, that beat them by a huge margin. And they are the main ones responsible for the country being in this situation. Here, for example, Daniela Lima lying, saying that the bald guy from National Institute of Social Security had made a donation to Bolsonaro. Even though Lula's brother, all those unions right in the eye of the storm, they want to blame Bolsonaro. That's a lack of honesty.
We start with one of the main characters, the bald guy from Social Security. There's always one, right? In the operations, it's with a donation of 1 million reais to Jair Bolsonaro's 2022 campaign.
Check this out.
1 million reais to Jair Bolsonaro's 2022 campaign.
Look at that lie. What a blatant lie, an absurd lie.
You answered here that you made a donation to former President Bolsonaro's political campaign of R$1.
Correct?
There's a guy laughing behind you. Be careful, huh?
They spent all these years trying to paint Bolsonaro as corrupt. So far, they haven't found anything. They didn't find anything. There's nothing against this man. They're still trying, and they're going to fall flat on their faces. And Daniela Lima did everything. She lied. Remember that video of her talking, the one where she said, "You're going to eat picanha again? Poor people like to dress well. Poor people like nice things." Man, it's absurd. Rubinho made a video today, Rubinho Nunes, right? The city councilman from São Paulo, right? I thought it was really cool, really nice.
Look, Danny Lima opened up about the behind the scenes of her dismissal from Rede Globo. Let's laugh together.
It was my first time being fired.
Oh, poor thing, it was the first time she was fired. How sad, how sad, how sad. Give her a box of chocolates, give her a hug. She felt firsthand what Brazilians feel every day, with companies closing and opportunities disappearing. Because of the Partido dos Trabalhadores administration, the administration she defends so much. The cool thing is that the drama comes with a soundtrack and a headline. The problem isn't the firing itself, it's the media frenzy she wants to create around it. But wait, it wasn't just the firing, it was the ideological tragedy surrounding it. It was the collapse of the ideological monopoly that the left wanted to implement at Rede Globo and
that it still implements. Great video from Rubinho with Natuza Neri, Andrea Sadi, and Natuza. The two are fighting over who will replace Daniela Lima, who will be more sensational. How am I going to fool people even more? Because that's a well of absurd deception. They try to deceive people in every possible way, but in a blatant manner. Overwhelming, because their lies end up causing injustice. You see, for example, a character like this drunk guy who farts all the time isn't worth it. Felipe Martins is in jail because, of course, he was a piece on this chessboard used to put innocent people in prison. And they don't care, not at all. This needs to be exposed. Their actions are absurd. Virtue signaling is one of the most hateful things we see. Last year, when we witnessed that catastrophe in Rio Grande do Sul with Brazilians helping and everything, the army playing that role there. Those guys went there just to eat and drink the food meant for the people actually helping and camping out. Remember the images here? People passing by with the army truck couldn't get there to help because they weren't allowed to. Boats from the armed forces being rescued by the locals. That's just crazy stuff. And then that movement of people helping people started. No, that's a lie. It's the government that's helping. It's Janja who went to save the horse. Look, Janja saved the horse. But Amanda Klein managed to do something that Daniela Lima couldn't. For now, okay? I don't know if this will last or have a long life. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because for Daniela Lima, it must have been a shock. Not even SBT, the second biggest channel competing with Record, wanted her. She ended up at Folha de São Paulo. Amanda Klein left RedeTV. What outrages me most is that they don't even value the place they no longer work at, so it's no longer worth it to me. Now it's SBT. I think that's absurd, right? Look at that. Amanda Klein left RedeTV after 14 years to join SBT as the host of SBT News, a new project from Silvio Santos' network. They hired a leftist for management there. Oh, Patricia, oh, Patricia. You're going to lose your audience, girl. I don't know if you care about that or not. I would care because SBT is a conservative network. Amanda Klein is extremely leftist, extremely progressive. I mean, she's leftist, but they say progressive to make it sound nicer, right? So the left is discredited worldwide, right? Look at what she's saying. It was 14 successful years at RedeTV, full of happiness and amazing projects where I grew and learned. I am eternally grateful, but I think there are moments in life when we close one chapter and start another. I think it was time for this new chapter. I love news. No, you love spreading your totally absurd opinion, right? This opportunity, SBT's invitation to create a product from scratch. To help create and launch a 24-hour cable news channel, a first for SBT. Also to combine a brand that already has credibility and history in journalism. Check with people and see what they're saying here. I love our influencer's videos. He covered everything. Let's take a look.
Are you ready to do the biggest cancellation of a Partido dos Trabalhadores supporter? The boycott. The boycott I'm bringing to you today, I'm sure I won't even need to ask you to share this video, because the contempt I have for this person, I'm sure you have 10 times more. This leftist made the lives of Bolsonaro's supporters a living hell 24 hours a day, day and night. And now it's time for us to strike back. Amanda Klein was hired by SBT to host SBT News. And since SBT wants to lose their audience, we're going to grant SBT's request. Now tell me, isn't that woman from Bombonha just unbearable? Am I right or not? I'm sure her husband must go through hell with her. He really knows what it's like to go through hell.
People have the right to revolt, right? After all, we're living in a dictatorship. They say we're not, that it's a democracy, that we're in full democracy, but we're in a dictatorship today thanks to these people. Bolsonaro was bad. Well, that was Amanda, Daniela, Lima. Lula is great, right? It's wonderful. Look here, it's bread kneaded by the devil. Look there, bread kneaded by Ignazio, as I usually say, right? We have to. Look, I feel sad about people here talking about boycotting SBT because I really like Patricia, even though Patricia is a person, you know that. She's Silvio Santos's beloved daughter. We grew up liking her, but you must realize these people don't want what's best for her. The other day, she went on Hulk, Luciano Hulk, Luciano Hulk. You know, we say this for good reasons, because we like SBT, we admire SBT. It's a network, like I said before, from Silvio Santos. Wow. Because the leftist, he's not going to watch Amanda Klein. Nowadays, things are very politicized. Don't think, oh, there are a lot of people in the middle who don't care about politics. But we know how things are. People are not accepting to see these injustices with Bolsonaro. That's a fact. That's a fact. I hope that SBT doesn't, not the journalism management, because they're leftist, of course, and they're going to hire leftists to bring them down. And then they're fired, and that bad image stays with the network. And because of the affection we have for SBT, for Silvio Santos, whom we've always had a lot of consideration and respect for, because he was part of our lives. He was in our home every day, right? We still give this warning, that's the fact. Share this video, I want to know your opinion, my friends. SBT can take a different approach, right? Hire a real journalist, a journalist who hasn't mocked, ridiculed, or humiliated the people so much, right? There are so many out there. For them to make available, look, it would be a great idea. More news and updates coming soon on the Paisifilos channel.